Hello there. Yes, that's right. This is the fourth devlog for Forgescape, a 2D top-down survival game where you are able to fight monsters, obtain powerful items and explore biomes in a procedurally generated world. For the last few months, we have been working mostly on implementing new systems and reworking outdated and poorly implemented mechanics. We originally planned on adding a dungeon to the game right after the last devlog, but we decided to delay this feature because of its complexity. However, we have made a lot of other progress since the last time and polished so many aspects of the game that we have decided to launch a closed beta for Forgescape, as well as opening a public Discord server in which the beta will be hosted. The server will be a place where we will share announcements and updates about Forgescape, but it will also be a place where you can hang out, interact with people and with us obviously, and just a pretty chill place. We are inviting you to join it and maybe even try joining the closed beta, so you will get early access to the game and might have a say on what should be added or reworked in the game. Alright, so what did we exactly change? Well, the list would be very long, so to sum it up for you, we have chosen the most important changes we have made. First of all, we have reworked a lot of stuff regarding the inventory, both interface-wise and gameplay-wise. Interface-wise, we have improved the crafting system. The crafting system used to feature 2 inventory slots which you put ingredients into. When you were to craft something, the game would browse through every recipe in the game and would check for a recipe which contains the ingredients you wanted to use, assuming you had enough of them, of course. Some major flaws with that system were that recipes had to be unique from each other, as well as having a maximum of 2 ingredients per recipe. The new crafting system now allows us to create recipes with an unlimited amount of ingredients without them having to be unique from each other. The change we have made is very simple. Instead of having a crafting inventory, crafting is now handled using a scrollable list. The list consists of buttons, each giving information about a recipe. Pressing one of those buttons crafts the item depicted on that button if you have enough ingredients. It's a simple change, but it's much better than the old system. Gameplay wise, we have added chests to the game. Up until now, you had to carry all of your items inside your inventory. This problem becomes more apparent in later stages of the game, where most items require a handful of different ingredients in order to be crafted. Chests allow you to store items instead of being forced to carry them. With chests, you can free up your inventory space without having to throw away other goods. They can be placed and broken apart just like a workstation. You can also use chests to build, for example, a centralized storage system where you can deposit and withdraw items required for a specific task, like returning from a mining session or preparing for a boss fight. A centralized storage system can also act as a base of some sorts. Therefore, the only logical thing to do would be to add base building to the game. It's pretty bare bones as of now, and only lets you build basic structures using walls, light sources, workstations and chests. We're obviously planning on expanding this catalog. Nobody is a fan of mobs disturbing them when they hang out in their storage system or their crafting area, so a base can be used as a hideout. However, there is a major flaw with the base building system. In a game that encourages exploration, expansion and adventuring, it's hard to balance a mechanic which depends on settling down somewhere and building a base, which they pay little to no visits to throughout the game. We have a few ideas for solving this issue in mind, such as base invasions, events that will encourage the player to construct their base both in a strategic and a defensive way. And agriculture, a mechanic which will reward the player with minerals, food and maybe even weapons for visiting their base every once in a while. When you're not hanging out at your base, you will usually find yourself exploring and fighting foes which pose a threat to your adventures. As we continue working on the game, it becomes apparent to us which features require notice in order to meet our expectations for the game. This time, combat was given a bit of rework. The melee class was the first class to get a rework. Melee felt like a really weak and underwhelming class compared to the ranged and magical classes found in Forgescape. It was slow, its DPS was shameful compared to other classes, and its close range combat has seemingly no real reward. Our rework of the melee class includes smoother and improved animations for melee weapons, faster attack rates, much higher damage output and some other small changes that make melee feel much stronger and way more fun. As a result, melee finally feels like a very strong class and can be even stronger than other classes when used correctly, which is exactly what we have wanted to achieve. We have also modified the ranged combat, specifically the use of bows, giving them brand new ability to quickly swap between types of arrows with the press of a button. Each arrow deals around the same amount of damage, so damage output is mostly influenced by the type of arrow you're using. However, each arrow has a unique effect, which allows you to cycle between arrows in a specific order to maximize your offensive abilities depending on the encounter. For example, you can use steel arrows to lower the defense of an enemy, then set them on fire using flaming arrows, and then pick them off using normal arrows. This system encourages experimentation and allows players to strategize their gameplay. In addition to bows, we have also added new ranged weapons such as boomerangs and even revolver, which is a direct reference to a specific game. We hope that by giving players a wide arsenal, they will study their weapons' disadvantages and advantages for different situations and use them accordingly. We have also added a lot of visual changes, such as adding water reflections and animations. Apart from adding some life to the world of Forgescape, this rather cosmetic addition also serves a use. It allows players to tell the time of the day. You can review reflections of the sun and the moon on the water. And since both celestials rise in the east and set in the west, you can tell the current in-game time by determining relative positions. Another cosmetic addition to Forgescape is rain, a rather atmospheric event that takes place every few in-game hours. It currently doesn't serve a purpose other than being cosmetic, but we do have some plans for this mini event, so stay tuned for that. On top of that, we have once again reworked the world generation. Previously, each biome had to be set up manually using several tile maps and a lot of unorganized stuff. We have moved biome definitions into scriptable objects and paired those with the biome scriptable object reader and a new world generator. We have also added a brand new biome manager that is much more optimized and dynamic. On top of that, we have reduced the time it takes to generate a world from 3 minutes back in September to 20 seconds as of now. Even though it's an impressive achievement, we still think that there is room for improvement. And last but not least, we have entirely reworked the first boss that you will encounter in Forgescape, the Mother Slime. We didn't showcase this boss up until now because it was a very boring boss, only capable of jumping towards the player and shooting projectiles in a circular formation, while summoning slimes frequently. Over the last few weeks, we have been reworking it entirely by completely changing its AI, attacks, sprites, and even its boss encounter. We also took advantage of this opportunity to rework some enemies who specialized in killing fun instead of killing the player. For example, projectile-based slimes used to shoot long-range projectiles and could pretty much snipe the player from a large distance. We have made them shoot small short-range gravity-based projectiles which fit the slimes much better. The new projectiles are basically gelatin projectiles shot by the slimes and make them easier and more fun to fight. These are the most important changes we have made in the last few weeks, months. As always, we have also reworked some stuff and fixed a lot of bugs. Also, don't forget to join the Discord server as it will help us a lot. As always, thank you for watching this devlog and we wish you all the best. Bam!